Alrighty, guys, we're back for Dino Aggro, and this is an Aetherdrift standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. We got some new dinos packed in for Regal Imperiosaurs. 3 mana, 5/4. Oh my goodness, that's all it needed to have, but it has more for some reason. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. Sounds good to me, dude. That'll obviously pair well with all of our other dinos, but I want to finish going over the new dinosaurs first. We have this Agonasaur Rex. It's a 5 mana 8/8. I might have pronounced it right. It has trample, but what's important here is it actually has cycling for 2 and a green. So when you cycle this card, put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature or vehicle. It gains trample and indestructible until end of turn. All that seems pretty terrific, and indestructible comes in handy. Of course, we have other protection spells packed in like Tyvar Stand. We have 3 of them actually, but more importantly, the trample's really going to come in handy when we have these big old chunky dinosaurs that don't have trample in and of themselves, like a Pugnacious Hammerskull here too. 3 mana 6/6. My goodness. When this creature attacks while you don't control another dinosaur, you put a stun counter on it, so hopefully you always have the other dino on the board. Other dinosaurs packed in, a Belligerent Yearling should work well with all these big old chunky dinos. It's a 2 mana 3/2 with trample, and whenever another dinosaur you control enters, you may have this creature's base power become equal to that creature's power until end of turn. Good stuff, dude. There's a very important concept packed in. Of course, since we're playing dinos, we have Ixalli's Lorekeeper to help us ramp into our 3-drops, and all 4 Llanowar Elves packed in too. That is a very important concept. Getting a turn 2 Regal Imperiosaur or a Pugnacious Hammerskull, as we well know, is a pretty powerful turn 2, huh? So we do have some removal packed in with all 4 Triumphant Chomps. Being able to just do like 5 damage to a creature for 1 mana seems pretty good to me, man. So we have other ways to actually give these big old chunky dinosaurs trample too. We have 3 burner rockets packed in. So this is a 2 mana 3/1 artifact vehicle, crew for 1. It has flash. And when this vehicle enters, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. So at that point, why not just run for 1 mana cheaper Monstrous Rage? Well, I wanted to try out this Lifecraft Engine as well. It's only a 1 of in here. It's a 3 mana 4/4 artifact vehicle for crew. For 3. As this vehicle enters, you choose a creature type. So of course we're going to be choosing dinos more often than not. Vehicle creatures you control are the chosen creature type in addition to their other types. Okay. And then each creature you control of the chosen type other than this vehicle gets +1/+1 as well. That's actually really interesting, isn't it? Another reason to try out Burner Rocket over something like Monstrous Rage is when you are crewing for 1, there's moments where you top deck a late game Lorekeeper and it's just a really bad draw. But maybe we can play that Lorekeeper, crew up a burner rocket, and just slip in that last bit of damage, right? I think that's an interesting concept. Oh, we have 3 Itzquinth in here too for more removal, by the way. We have a top end as well, Ghalta, Primal Hunger. 12 mana, 12/12 with trample. And this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. So how easy is it going to be to actually get this to double green? I don't know. I guess we'll find out today. But I'll tell you what, even if we get it down to 1 in double green, we're still going to be pretty satisfied with a 3 mana 12/12 trample, especially if we have a Yearling or 2 on the board, right? The mana base guys, we have a couple Cavern of Souls, calling dinos more often than not, but you might call Druid every now and then for the Elves and the Lorekeeper. We also have all 4 Verge. We have a Karplusan Forest, all 4 Copperline Gorge, 8 forests and 3 mountains. I don't know why, for some reason, I decided to go over each land this time round. We have some honorable mentions, guys. Actually considered Molt Tender, not this time round. This Tyrox, something Tyrant. I considered it. Something to think about, I suppose. Intrepid Paleontologist almost made the cut. I thought about value dinosaurs, like Tranquil Frillback is pretty good. Polani's Hatcher and Trumpeting Connoisseur are all really good dinos, but I really wanted to focus on the aggro side of things, and I didn't want to push it too mid-range. All right, guys. I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I have no idea. It looks like it'll be good. I guess we'll find out, right? Okay. We go first. Wow, yeah. This is a hand. Let's see if we can pull off that turn 2 Hammerskull. Although, yeah, no, we still go for the Hammerskull, right? Even though the Yearling's in hand. I guess it depends what the opponent ends up playing. Because we could go Yearling and Triumphant Chomp on the same turn. Oh, they dropped a bobble on our Lorekeeper. Well, that's just mean, opponent. Well, it narrowed it down, though, huh? Now it's Yearling. 22 mana in the deck list. We should find our third easy peasy here. I would say the only time I would have considered the Lorekeeper on turn 2 is if we actually had a target for the Chomp. Okay, momentum breaker. Yeah, there's our third. Now the question is, do we just let the opponent go for another 1-for-1 next turn, right? Like right into another piece of spot removal, or do we drop 2 creatures this time? I'm going to go 2 creatures, especially since one of them's Yearling. If Yearling survives, might be able to give it the extra power from the Hammerskull. Outside of that, if we just go 3 mana Hammerskull and they just do the same thing that they've done for the first 2 turns, I think we're in danger because they slowed us down significantly then. Fear of Isolation, they bounce back the Grim Bobble. Grim Bobble comes down, pops the Yearling. We're in danger, bro. Holy cow. Llanowar Elves isn't bad. I suppose we'll use Lorekeeper's mana for Hammerskull and then chomp the Fear of Isolation. It's not a terrible chomp. Especially if they decide to go like this town ain't big enough. Well, I guess that's a similar concept to just bouncing one of their other things too, isn't it? Okay, I'll chomp it. We have the open mana, and I think the chomp is a little bit better than the Llanowar Elves, but I guess we'll see, right? If we see a 5-drop off the top, then Llanowar Elves would have been the much better play. Yeah, the Grim Bobble and the Momentum Breaker for these bounce deck lists, gonna be pretty crazy, man, right? We gotta watch out for this, for sure. Storm Chaser's Talent. Still got 2 mana open, guys. Without having any other dinos on the board right now, the Hammerskull is a bit of a problem. We find mana off the top, which is pretty bad. We definitely want to dump everything onto the board, though. I wonder... This probably doesn't end up being a trade, so we probably just swing with Hammerskull and not worry about the stun counter, right? See what they do. The stun counter is pretty brutal, though. They do go for the chump. So we could have cheesed one through with the Lorekeeper potentially. However, if we did swing with the Lorekeeper, I think that they would have blocked there, had something in hand, and then the prowess would have gotten them above the trade. I think that's how that would have worked out. Nowhere to run. Gonna hit the Lorekeeper anyways. No, they're gonna hit Llanowar Elves. That makes more sense, I suppose. See if they find their 4th mana. They do go, this town ain't big enough. Huh. Okay. They decide not to bounce the Hammerskull or anything fancy there. Don't have anything to target with the Itzquinth. But that's still pretty good, isn't it? At least it's a hasty thing that we can swing on in with. So for this town ain't big enough, do you guys think it would have been a decent enough tempo play to bounce the Hammerskull? They decided not to target Hammerskull because of the stun counter anyways, but we would have had to pay 3 mana to get it back down. At that point, I guess they don't know it's packed into the build. Maybe they thought if we could play it and give it haste somehow, then that would have been pretty bad. Okay, they're going to take out Lorekeeper. Luckily, it doesn't matter too much here. And if we get to keep Hammerskull around and actually keep Itzquinth around too, because they're missing their second black mana. They only got one swamp. Triumphant Chomp. Okay. Okay. Not a lot of great targets right now, but swing? There's a big problem with keeping cards in your hand against these deck lists is they do run the 1 mana discard card. I can't think of the name right now for some reason, but they do tempo out with the number 2 of this town ain't big enough. Now we can go ahead and get Hammerskull back down for the turn. Okay. Let's hope they don't have too much more tempo. They go Momentum Breaker, we're going to have to sacrifice Itzquinth. Then when Hammerskull swings, it's going to get another stun counter unless we top deck a Dino. There's probably a good chance of top decking a Dino, right? I don't know. This is a weird one, man. Okay, they just have a go for the throat anyways. Okay, well, that's a problem. Oh, Ghalta. Well, they found that go for the throat right in time, huh? Wow. I guess even so, it could have been Momentum Breaker. And this is usually 12 total mana. It would have been 6 less, so we still wouldn't have had enough anyways. Down to 13. We're in danger, dude, because now they can play Momentum Breaker, get rid of our last Dino, and we have to consider the concede if the opponent doesn't prove to us that they can start getting damage through. Because they have enough cards in hand to keep us held up for a while. Wow. It passes back. They're just missing their 4th. The Momentum Breaker doesn't have flash or anything, but Nowhere to Run does. So I suppose that's the card they decided to keep open here. We could start with the swing. I guess Itzquinth is going to die no matter what this turn, right? Now, if we play Hammerskull, they have Momentum Breaker, so it might be better just to wait, since they missed mana for so long anyways. I guess we'll wait, since we know they have Momentum Breaker, and at this point, we realistically... Okay, they find their 4th, but it's another island, which is probably pretty bad for them. Hopeless Nightmare, that's what it's called. Get rid of the Chomp, because they're not giving us good targets anyways. That deals damage, so they do get their speed up to 2 finally. This town ain't big enough. Uh-oh. Get Storm Chaser's talent back down. When we only had 2 cards in hand, I'm surprised they didn't go for the Hopeless Nightmare again. But I guess they want to start boosting the prowess here. This was a brutal match, man. We'll let them kill the Hammerskull, and I'm pretty sure it's just like game, right? I think we might concede unless... I usually like letting the opponents play it out, but this might take like another 5 turns, and I don't think we're getting through here. One more turn. Let's see what's on top. They get to 3rd speed. It's mana. Okay, hey. Good game, opponent. Let's concede, because we're still at 16. They have Hopeless Nightmare. That brings us down to 14. Another 2 potentially on the prowess as well. I don't know, man. I think that could still take too long, especially if we start top decking more chump blockers or stuff. And that was just like heavily leaning towards the opponent pretty much right out the gate. As soon as they removed our first 4 creatures successfully, right? I was going to say first couple creatures, but no, pretty much every creature we played at that early game was instantly picked up. All right, opponent. Bring something a little bit less deadly to the table, huh? Got to see some dinos do something. I like this. I really liked that first hand too, though. So we got to get the Lorekeeper down, so we got to take the 1, because Verge just taps for red right now. All right, Sanctifier. We got... Ooh, Forest. Nice. We got our turn 2 Hammerskull. It's good, man. Ghalta is almost ready. Deep Cavern Bat. No! My second Hammerskull! Okay, well, Ghalta's no longer ready unless we see another dino or something off the top, right? Oh, the opponent's thinking here, though. Oh, they actually take Tyvar stand. I guess they're ready to remove something next turn, and they don't want that protection in hand. Oh, Itzquinth is pretty darn good here, too. Can pop the Deep Cavern Bat. So, that's probably what we do, right? Yeah, that's probably what we do. We'll tap it for green. Itzquinth. Pay the 2. That's totally fine. It deals damage. So it's not a fight, so it doesn't really matter which one we end up choosing. And we swing for 8. They might... I was gonna say they might chump if it's a raise the past deck list. It probably is a raise the past deck list. But they must have something here that they want to do. With the Sanctifier, I guess not. They got the 1 plains open, another Tyvar stand. So, a 3-mana Ghalta is kind of crazy, dude, but could be picked up by spot removal right away. Probably is the Ghalta for the turn, and we want to do that before combat in case they end up removing it, right? Okay, Verge taps for both. Or just in case they end up removing the Itzquinth on the swing. But it's, well, they definitely remove the Hammerskull on the swing. Elemental Core to the grave, raise the past next turn. Is this even worth it? I guess Tyvar's stand makes it worth it, but then on their turn... Okay, no, they know about the Tyvar stand. Wow, it's a good game opponent. I guess I was playing too slow for them or something. I don't know why, but that game was confusing the heck out of me, dude. I don't know what I was playing around, I guess. I'm pretty positive it was raise the past deck list, but I was still trying to play around like Elspeth Smite or anything else that this plains could have potentially been, because at first I was shocked that the Sanctifier didn't chump the Hammerskull, preventing 6 from getting through. Could have been pretty big if they planned on bringing it all back anyways, rather than just gaining the 1 life when they played the Elemental Core. So I was expecting another 1-drop too, but then they kept the plains open. I don't know, man. Lots to talk about in that one. And then, yeah, the Elemental Core trading into the Hammerskull, but then they let it go through since we had Tyvar stand. But maybe they decided the concede because they actually wanted to block there. Even if we did drop the Tyvar stand, because then that's a Tyvar stand out of our hand for their turn, they could actually drop removal then, right? So, I don't know. By not blocking, we had Tyvar stand open to protect our giant 12/12 trample. We go first. I feel like these hands have been really good, right? See if we can get our turn 2 Regal Imperiosaur. Optimistic Scavenger. Well, even if we do get a turn 2 Imperiosaur, they could go Sheltered by Ghost pretty easily. So, I guess that's fine. We have our 3rd mana already. If it is Sheltered by Ghost, we have the other one. And then this time round, we'll actually have mana open for the Tyvar stand protection too. Sheltered by Ghost, right on time, huh? So pick up the Imperiosaur and get a decent swing here. Because they go back up to 22 as well. So this time round, though... Oh, another Verge, nice. Yeah, any amount of damage that we don't have to take from a pain land is pretty good. So I think I'm going to... Yeah, we'll keep Llanowar Elves open for the green mana. I hope that's okay. Well, never mind. I'm trying to think of something that the opponent could do, but we can tap that at instant speed anyways. I don't know exactly what I'm playing around there. I guess like multiple removal spells where they target Llanowar Elves first, right? I guess that makes sense. Okay, Tyvar stand open for some hexproof. Let's see if that helps out. They can easily get the Scavenger over the 4 anyways. They do. We're in danger, bro. Holy cow. It's a 6/5. Still something else. Oh, no, guys. Ethereal Armor number 2. Oh, no, guys. That's an 11-11. Oh, 11-10, sorry. Lifelink First Strike. Ward 2. I think that's just about it, right? It's more. It's a Monstrous Rage. Holy cow. Holy cow. We're gonna die. We are. We're dead. I guess I should have blocked. But then what, right? What are we gonna do next turn? Not a lot we can do against that turn 3. Oh my goodness, dude. Brutal stuff. Well, let's keep the ball rolling. Roll it into some victories. Let's hope that like our turn 2 massive 3-drops actually mean something at some point, right? That's the hope, at least. You'd think just like having big things would be enough sometimes, but realistically it's just not. And in that game, you guys could see how important it actually is to have that extra little piece of protection. For example, if we went first there would have been a chance where we actually would have waited to have that open protection with the Tyvar stand. Then they potentially would have missed with the Sheltered by Ghost, right? Wait a minute, we did go first. Wait, what am I thinking? In that last game, I went first, right? I don't even know anymore, dude. Well, we know this game we did not go first, so we know that much. Thornspire Chomp the Swiss Spear before it gets out of hand, probably. Triple Llanowar Elves. We'll just go 2 Llanowar Elves next turn. Let's get this Swiss Spear off the board before it's too late, right? And then double down. Play the forest, right? Copperline Gorge. Yep, there's still going to be forest. Llanowar Elves. Llanowar Elves. We have Copperline Gorge for next turn then. So if Llanowar Elves take some burn off of our face, we wouldn't mind it. It's going to be Questing Druid. Wow. Double Heartfire Heroes. Dude, we're in danger again. Itzquinth can take care of one of them, but 2 of them? Well, they might just give it haste, but I think they should play the other one. They do. They have Karplusan Forest open. Okay. Regal Imperiosaur is pretty good. We should probably just go Itzquinth, unfortunately. We'll have the 1 open for the Llanowar Elves. Yeah, Itzquinth pay the 2. Try to pop a Heartfire hero. Since it's Gruul, they could easily have protection here, but I'd say it's worthwhile, right? And then play the 3rd Llanowar Elves. Any amount of top end would be pretty huge here, I would say, since we have so much extra ramp from these 1-drops. I mean, 4 cards in hand, there's probably a good chance that it's something. It also gets a boost with counters too, so they just go Monstrous Rage actually. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough to do it. If we would have went maybe Imperiosaur first, Itzquinth next turn, at least one thing that happened that turn was, you know, it wasn't an extra 2 going to our face. Instead, using Monstrous Rage as protection, it prevented some damage. But Monstrous Rage number 2 would be pretty devastating here as well. And Keeper's Talent giving the boost to the other Heartfire hero, so they're boosting wide. And depending on what's off the top, the chump on the 3/3 Heartfire hero here that doesn't have trample could be worthwhile. Is there any realistic situation where we need 7 mana? I say the chump is worthwhile. Let's see what they do with that mountain. It's going to be Might of the Meek, which does give trample. Uh-oh. So we're still taking 6. They got to replace it because it was a mouse, or they controlled a mouse. They have Karplusan Forest open. Holy cow, dude. We're in so much danger. They go ahead and go to level 2, though. So now these have Ward. Tyvar Stand isn't terrible. I don't think we can keep up pace though, guys. We boost the Itzquinth. Have Stand open to protect the Imperiosaur from something potentially. I think the Heartfire Heroes just do us in next turn though. But there's a chance that they're missing what they need in hand. So if we full swing for 5, and if we don't need to block, and if we don't need to use Tyvar Stand, then there's a chance that Tyvar Stand could end the game next turn with an X's 3. And then a Llanowar Elves, Itzquinth, and the Imperiosaur all have to get through. So we're asking for a lot, man, but no matter what, we're in danger, so we gotta try it, right? So with Innkeeper's Talent, they could boost one hero and then Rockface Village the other hero to get the extra boosts on all that. It's going to be Questing Druid. That is good news, except now they have a blocker after the swing. Unless they plan on giving Questing Druid haste from hand, right? Slick Shot Show Off is probably going to swing in. So they went Questing Druid first for the extra counter. That makes sense. Does make sense. Okay. Do they go on to... They do go on to a hero because it gets the extra counter as well. So it's 8, 9 on the swing. They're actually just swinging with the 5/5. Well, I guess we take it. Yeah. I don't know how we're getting 11 through. They're playing very cautiously. I guess a full swing would have just been 1 in the air. The block with the Imperiosaur into the 3/3. 3 still gets through. We'd be down to 4. And then they'd only have the Questing Druid. I guess it makes sense. It was a good patient turn from the opponent. Woo! Triumphant Stomp hitting for 5. If we, no matter what, we die to the heroes next turn anyways, unless we have a Chomp. If we go Triumphant Chomp on this hero down to 5, I don't know what to do here. Hold on, opponent, I'm thinking. Because we'll have to Chomp the heroes next turn. They have that in hand. They have Rockface Village. They have Innkeeper's Talent. They could put that on the show off too. All that in the air is crazy. So let's go. This is sorcery speed, by the way. So we want to go Chomp onto Slick Shot Show Off before combat. We get that out of the air no matter what. Then we swing for 8 on the ground like this. And see if they Chomp with the Questing Druid, or see if they get greedy with it. They do go for the Chomp, unfortunately, guys, which means we're going to have to go for the Chomps with the Llanowar Elves. Other than that, we would have had 8 here, and then an extra X's 4 on the Tyvar Stand. So Chomping this hero is the only hero we can Chomp, because this still has Trample from the earlier Monstrous Rage. We might have to go... I don't know. I don't know, guys. Just pass it back, right? We want to keep both of them in case they find removal too, but also both of these heroes are going to get boosted like crazy. As a matter of fact, they might as well just go Innkeeper's Talent level 3, go all into the Trampling Heartfire hero. With Tyvar Stand, we might still survive the turn. Oh, another creature. Oh, no. Oh, no, guys. And it looks like they're going Rockface Village instead of the level 3 on the Innkeeper's Talent, which is kind of good news. If they don't have Trample for the hero that they're putting it on right now, then we have a really good Chomp. So they go Innkeeper's Talent onto that one. 7... So, with whatever's left in hand, if it's a boost, we die no matter what, right? So I guess the best thing to do here, Chomp. If we go X's 2 on the Tyvar stand, we'd take, well, we take the extra prowess from the Swift Spear too, depending on what's in hand. So we might as well chump the Swift Spear and try to kill the Swift Spear with the Tyvar stand, right? Yeah, because no matter what, we lose if that's something to play. I think, right? Let's see what it is. It's a Monstrous Rage. So yeah, super duper dead then, because they also could have just put that onto the other Heartfire here to trample over that. At that point, we'll go ahead and show them that we had X's 4 Tyvar stand. Oh, X's 4 Tyvar stand. Huh. So if we would have blocked the Heartfire here, oh no, they could have just put the Monstrous Rage onto the other thing. I don't know, man. That game was melting my brain for some reason. Actually, all these games are. I apologize, guys. It's just one of those days, huh? So with Tyvar stand in hand and our untapped Llanowar Elves, it wasn't just X's 2 Tyvar stand, because of course we can tap the Elves after we actually block. So X's 4 Tyvar stand, one onto the trampling creature, and then the other onto the other chunky mouse, right? I guess we could have survived, but that's only if they would have messed up and put the Monstrous Rage onto the wrong creature after we did the Tyvar stand too. So we could have tried to wait till the very last moment and then on top of the stack of the Monstrous Rage. There's a chance that we could have actually survived there, guys. It's kind of crazy to think about. We don't have a turn 1 Llanowar Elves, but that's okay, because I bet our turn 1's going to be Triumphant Chomp anyways, because the opponent's actually going first here. Well, I took the gamble. I'm sticking by it, guys. It's totally fine here. Totally fine. Okay, still nothing to actually hit from the opponent. And Lorekeeper's pretty good. I guess, what do we want to run into removal? Unfortunately, probably Yearling, since there's a chance of seeing mana off the top as well, and getting the Imperiosaur down just seems kind of crazy when the Yearling's on the board. Inspiring Overseer, wow. Yearling gets to stick around. Let's see that mana. We do find that mana too. Very nice. Dinosaur. And this is definitely the play, right? Triumphant Stomp is going to have better angels to pick up. All right, take that action. Swing for 6 trampling. Not bad. Down to 15. See what we can do against potentially Orzhov angels, but probably Orzhov life gain. It's another Inspiring Overseer, so I guess technically we still don't know what we're up against. Burner Rocket's pretty good. Wow. Before combat, we can pick up one of these, because they're going to chump the Imperiosaur, or double block Imperiosaur, actually. I guess that's, well, it's a similar... Man, while we can, we're going to go Lifecraft Engine, actually, called Dinosaur. Let's get this on the board. It's actually pretty cool, right? So now it actually is just a chump into the Regal Imperiosaur. Get them down to 11, and hopefully that was a solid enough play. Mana off the top could be an Itzquinth. They go ahead and pop the Imperiosaur. They pass it back. Ooh, Ghalta. Okay, okay. Good thing they popped the Imperiosaur, huh? That Ghalta would have been very nice to boost the Yearling and everything. So, we have some decisions. How do we want to do this? Itzquinth giving haste. Probably Lorekeeper. And then Burner Rocket. And then Lifecraft Engine. Is that worth it? What if they have removal? Especially since this has flash. Is that actually worth it? Maybe. Let's see what happens here. There you go, Yearling. And then we want to crew up like this, and then crew up. Actually, yeah. We don't want it to trade into the Overseer. was going to say, this is a 4-2 as well, but... Alright, let's see. They go for the Chomp on the Lifecraft Engine, get them down to 5. Couple vehicles over here. I'm feeling good if it's a board wipe. GG opponent. Wow. And is it just me, guys? What's going on? Is this deck list kind of hard to run? Or is it just me right now? I don't know, dude. I don't know. There's quite a few decisions. What I love about that game, the match that we were just in, we actually got to see the vehicles do something. And I brought up actually just a great point there as to why we have some extra vehicles plugged in too. Sometimes escaping board wipes can be enough, right? Because then you can play your creatures out of hand. They don't have haste, right? And you can still power up your vehicles that were already on the board that escaped the board wipe. I think that's actually pretty important for a deck list like this. So that is neat. Yeah, even if I guess we would have had trouble powering up both of those vehicles, right? And they were still at 5, but still. We go first, last game of the evening. Let's see what happens here. Oh, guys, while I have you here in the last game of the evening, make sure you check out that description where we do have that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in joining either of those up and supporting the channel that way. But then also, guys, for the YouTube side of things, if you liked the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. If you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing as well, because it really does help out the channel. So thank you, thank you. Gnarling Gorehound. Okay, we can successfully get the Verge down. And then I wouldn't mind keeping Tyvar stand open and tapping the Lorekeeper, but I also wouldn't mind it. Never mind, I do mind a trade there. Yeah, let's get the Yearling down in anticipation of a bigger dino that we could potentially top deck. And then, of course, Itzquinth as well can clean up a creature on next turn if we get to keep Lorekeeper around. Alright, Aelyssial Core. We get the Surveil. So potentially a Raise the Past deck list, which is pretty scary. I wouldn't mind the surprise Tyvar stand if they think they're trading with the Aelyssial Core, but then they'll just eventually bring it back anyways. So I think I'd rather not use Tyvar stand. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. We'll pay the 2. Off the Itzquinth. Auto pay. I guess we'll go Yearling into Aelyssial Core, right? And then we want to decline, and then we have a good swing. Yeah, it's not terrible. And Triumphant Chomp should come in handy next turn too, because there's a whole bunch of creatures that we can hit, even if it was just doing the 2 damage, you know? I hope for this last game we actually get to see some of the new cards too. Lifecraft Duo. Alright. Llanowar Elves. Yeah, we should probably wait till after the Raise the Past to do any extra removing, right? So I think we just end up swinging here. I don't want to lose Lorekeeper to the 2-1. I don't want to use Tyvar stand when it's not their turn just yet. Looks like they're going to take the 5. All right. So that actually works out too, where we can go Yearling and then Llanowar Elves. You know, I really hope this isn't the type of Raise the Past deck list that also runs board wipes. Because I'm going wide. Let's do it. We have Tyvar stand open. They drop a nice 4th mana Essence Channeler. Okay, I was worried. Essence Channeler is pretty good though, and they're going back up to 10 here, and I bet it's another creature for the turn. They put an Essence Channeler to the grave. Probably means they're ready. Okay, back up to 11. Essence Channeler is becoming a very good blocker. Top end Dino would be terrific, man. Be really, really good for us. Ruin Lurker Bat. They dropped all the creatures, guys. Holy cow. Oh no. Oh no. It was 3 creatures for the turn, but no Raise the Past in hand. That's everything. Everything's on the board. Triumphant Chomp not hitting the Channeler. Bad news. We need to see a good dino here. They get a couple more scries. If they keep one on top, that's Raise the Past, period, right? Okay, 1 to the bottom. Let's see the next one. Oh, 1 to the bottom. Okay, well, the next card then could be Raise the Past, but... Hey, Burner Rocket's pretty good. Except we only have 1 red source on the board, so we have to decide between Burner Rocket and Chomp, which is probably the Rocket then, because we get to decide based on where they block. Channeler puts the counters elsewhere. Green source, source for dinos only. So we keep the Llanowar Elves back for Tyvar stand. Maybe we want to go X's 1 while doing Burner Rocket too. I apologize, opponent. I just kind of feel like we don't have many turns past this one. Especially because there's probably a great chance that they see more creatures off the top too. They're going to gain even more life. If they don't see more creatures, probably got all 4 Raise the Past in there as well. They go double block into Yearling, so 1 trample getting through there. So they go Channeler. They do go for the block with the Life Creed duo as well. We're going to start with the Burner Rocket onto the Lorekeeper, pop the Creed. Right? Now we get 1 through there, 3 through there. Down to 8. Tyvar's for 1 or Tyvar for protection. Let's go Tyvar for 1 and let the Itzquinth die and go onto the Yearling to keep the trample on the board, as well as push through 1 more excess damage. So they go back down to 7 here. Or 6. Or 8. I counted once before, guy. Yeah, they had lifelink on the Ruin Lurker Bat. And then I don't know where I miscounted right now. But we got good damage through. Essence Channeler's really bad, though. 1 to bottom. They're still looking for the Raise the Past. Another Triumphant Chomp is actually pretty darn good, right? But how do we get 8 damage through? So we can pop the Ruin Lurker Bat, pop the Gorehound, full swing with Burner Rocket. No, we can't. We still don't got double red. I don't know why I keep thinking that. Oh, no. It's terrible news. The Essence Channeler counters going elsewhere. I apologize, opponent. The deck list is melting my brain for some reason. So number 1, I'm pretty sure it's just another turn where we go for the full swing because at any point they can find it, right? 1 chomp onto the lifelink creature makes the most sense to me. And full swing, they trade Gorehound into the 1/1, block there, down to 5. Taking care of Channeler just doesn't seem like the answer, you know what I mean? It just doesn't seem like it'll work. So we just keep pushing. Okay. Down to 5. They took the trade. We were expecting that. Irlin's Sanctifier is still pretty bad news. There's the second red source. But how do we push the last 5 through without our top-end dinos too, you know? And a big old Channeler as well. Well, second red source, we can at the very least pick up Sanctifier, but I'll tell you what, when they see Raise the Past, and it's only a matter of time, it's going to be brutal no matter what. At the most right now, we can push 1 damage through down to 4. That's not going to be enough anyways. All right, we do Triumphant Chomp because we can. And if they miss Raise the Past, then at least it's a creature off the board. If they miss Raise the Past, see a creature, and we didn't take Sanctifier, then see they would have went back up to 6 there as well. They decide they're not safe to swing with Channeler yet, and I agree, except we see more mana off the top. I say it's worthwhile playing, though. We have to pass it back. It's a top deck war this time round. Sanctifier. Oh no. Oh no, guys. They send a channeler to the grave. They're searching for one of their 4 Raise the Past. Llanowar Elves. That's pretty bad, right? That's pretty bad. When I took the turn for the full swing, no, I think that was a worthwhile full swing, right? The full swing after the fact, losing. Uh-oh. Starscape Cleric's bad news. Oh, they don't have the Offspring. Okay. For a second, I thought Offspring was 2 on this. I was going to say they're going to gain even more life here. Uh-oh. Did they keep that on top? Uh-oh. Burner Rocket. That's not terrible, honestly. It would have been much better a few turns ago, though. Even then, though, the Channeler is going to be way too much to actually push through here, right? So I guess it's probably our last turn to do any damage, so let's go for the full swing. Holy cow. Did they just decide to take that? I was looking at the opponent's grave. Opponent? Opponent? What was that? We had 1 card in hand. That was so risky. Well, I'm pretty sure that one actually belonged to the opponent there. Oh, I was going to take a look at the board state. Maybe they accidentally clicked through it. 5 getting through, they were at 6. No blocks there? Am I missing something? The block with the channeler, a block with the channeler at the very least, if we had something, if we would have killed the channeler off the block, then the counters would have been distributed onto another creature, right? So, holy cow. I guess I'll take the victory. They are very hard to come by sometimes. This is cool, man. Put it on the Do Not Craft list. We got to figure out something with dinos. This one also melted my brain, probably for no good reason. It might just be the day as well. It might be just one of those days, you know. Very, very consistently will you get that turn 1 ramp into the turn 3, I would say, right? I'd say that's pretty consistent. And when you're not going turn 1 into turn 2, turn 3, wait, I should word that better. If you're not going turn 1 ramp into the turn 2, 3 drop, right? Then at the very least, you might have a 2-drop keep protection open. And I'll tell you what, it's kind of nice to actually get to keep your 2-mana creatures sometimes. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes you'll get to keep a 2-mana creature on the board, and it's just like, wow, you survived. Congratulations, right? Now we can keep playing the game with you, and that seems relatively important with the Belligerent Yearling being a trampling creature in here is kind of huge, right? There's a lot of chump blockers all the time, and pretty much no matter what deck list you're up against, they'll find some way to chump your creatures, so trample's really important. Come back to Burner Rocket here. Why not play the Monstrous Rage, right? You totally could, but we're trying something a little different with the vehicles and having the Lifecraft Engine in here to also boost our dinosaurs wide. Turn the Burner Rockets into dinosaurs when you power them up too is actually just really neat, isn't it? I like this concept a lot, and Burner Rocket only being common kind of like makes it worthwhile to at the very least try that concept out. I brought this up while playing the matches too. There's going to be games where having vehicles actually saves you from board wipes and stuff. You get them low enough, the opponent wipes the board, but you still have a Burner Rocket or 2 on the board. Or like in that one game where we had Burner Rocket and the Lifecraft Engine, then it's just you play one of your creatures out of hand that it doesn't happen to have haste like a Llanowar Elves, power up your Burner Rocket, swing in after they're tapped out after a board wipe. I think that matters. I do. Right, the top end. I kept complaining that we weren't seeing a lot of our top end, and when I was speaking of the top end, I was specifically talking about all 4 Pugnacious Hammerskulls, all 4 Regal Imperiosaurs as well. It's only 8 cards, guys, but the rest of the top end, the Agonasaur Rex. I pronounced it much better this time round. Oh my goodness. Anyways, it's a 5 mana, and we had 5 mana very consistently out there, didn't we? So much, in fact, that I wonder if we could successfully drop either Lorekeeper or Llanowar Elves. Probably Lorekeeper down to 3, maybe, and then go up another piece of top end like the Rex. Mainly because of the cycling, because you can still cycle it for 3, acts as protection, another way to give trample to your creatures. Big creatures like Hammerskull and stuff would really appreciate the trample. I think the 2 of Ghalta makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't go up any, I wouldn't go down any either, honestly. Well, maybe. I could also see a 1 of top end Ghalta, but if you drop this, then you'd want to go up another top end, because we just weren't seeing enough of our top end. And when we were seeing it, it was just immediately dying to spot removal or anything else that the opponent had. That's kind of one of those things where maybe it was hard for me to play today because I was just struggling with the math on the board with attacks and blocks and everything. This deck list is very heavy on that concept of setting up this big old wall of creatures and trying your best to compete against your opponent's wall of creatures. So there's a lot of little calculations like, do they double block here or there, or right? Sometimes the creatures have lifelink. Make sure you calculate that in if you think you have lethal damage on the board. This is neat, man. But yeah, put it on the do not craft list. We got to try something else with dinos. We're probably going to try dino mid-range at some point. Not this week. Probably not next week unless I do something a little different. Like if I go dino mid-range next week, then it might not be Gruul mid-range. We might try something fancy or something, you know what I mean? But soon we'll revisit dinos and see if we can get something a little bit more consistent. And then hopefully when that comes time, I'll be a little bit more consistent too, because some of those losses could have come down to me. Mostly it just kind of feels like the brutal meta, but I might be wrong, guys. Definitely let me know in the comments for sure. And also, let me know in the comments what you thought of the deck list. Do you think it's a neat one? Do you think it's an all right concept to try some vehicles in here too? Let me know, because there's other decks that care about card types that I wouldn't mind trying Lifecraft Engine with a couple vehicles in. And I think that might be a concept well, it'll definitely be a concept I revisit somewhere, but let me know what you think of that concept for sure. What about Regal Imperiosaur? Do you guys think this might be all right enough to try outside of dinosaur builds too? Or green builds that have like maybe a couple dinos? It's a 3 mana 5/4, and when you see 2 of them, they'll boost each other, right? So, or one another, I should say, right? I don't know. It's just it's so chunky. As long as that deck list has a way to give trample or something too, the similar way that this one is, maybe we could try this out in another Gruul aggro build that just has like a couple dinos in it instead, and instead like focuses on other ways to push aggro through, like full-on Gruul monstrous rage build or something. That could be neat. But at that point too, if you are going Gruul, why not have even more dinos and actually try for dinos like this one is? That's a tough decision, man. It's neat though. It's a neat card because, and the reason I bring that up with Imperiosaur is that something like Hammerskull can't necessarily do. Like, is a 3 mana 6/6 worth it when it taps and gets a stun counter? If you're not playing dinos, probably not, because then you're just relying on another Hammerskull on the board at the same time. If you're relying on that, you got to go for the throat coming for you, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I feel like Regal Imperiosaur has more reasons to try it outside of dinos than something like a Hammerskull, but at the same time, I don't really know, honestly. And the double green too makes it a little harder to cast, but not too bad, especially since that same build will probably run all 4 Llanowar Elves anyways, so. All right, guys. Hey, enough rambling. If you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I see you in the next video.